guests coming today and I want to get this place tidy and relatively clean from top to bottom. I sent the kids all outside and I'm going to try to tackle this job in less than an hour. While I do so, I want to tell you about a shift I made recently in how I approach the inventory in our house. Up until now, I really felt like I was kind of a minimalist. I shared a video, I believe it was before I had Victor. So it was a little over maybe a year and a half ago, and the thumbnail said minimal-ish. And I actually went through my entire house, showed you inside every cabinet, every drawer. I mean, maybe not every, but pretty much throughout the entire house, what we keep on hand. And honestly, I think that I was living a very clutter-free lifestyle at that point, one that my house actually felt manageable in. So not starting from this place of overwhelm before even getting started on something, but there were still some cluttered and unorganized spaces that were weighing on me. You guys know, you feel it when, even though the house looks clean, you know what's behind the cabinet, the sewing cabinet. That's one of mine, where I have all this scrap fabric that, if I'm honest and I look through it with honest eyes, I have not actually touched or made a project from in about a year. Or the under the stairs closet where I stored extra pillow inserts and fabric that, again, I really thought I would get to, but never did. Those kind of things really weigh on you. About a year ago, when we did our basement pantry, I took that honest look at the basement, because even though that was out of circulation, all the clutter down there wasn't really interfering with our daily lives, it still had a tendency to weigh on me. I knew there were parts of my house that if I wanted to find a certain item, I wouldn't be able to easily locate it, and I knew that there was disarray. So I addressed that whole space. But more recently, I took those other spaces that were weighing on me and I actually addressed them and realized that I still had way too many items to take care of, and that all of these things that were in there were what we like to call someday projects and goals, things that you think you will get to at some point when your life really slows down. Maybe you imagine it'll be when your kids are all grown, or who knows what type of thing you're telling yourself that you're going to work on it or use that. One way that I really have simplified my life is by simplifying my wardrobe and filling it with key staple pieces. With Thanksgiving and Christmas all right around the corner, we even have a wedding in our family, an anniversary, several birthdays. There are a lot of occasions where I'd like to have something that I can throw on and look presentable. Of course, most days I'm in casual clothing to do my everyday life, but still, I like to be put together for the day ahead. Today's video sponsor is ThredUp. ThredUp is the world's largest online thrift shop where you can search specifically for those holiday items that you would like to add to your wardrobe, get them at a lower price, and in a much more sustainable way by thrifting them. So not only is thrifting budget friendly, but it also allows you to find that one-of-a-kind piece that you really want to wear this holiday season. I always love a high-quality cozy sweater, and this sweater is made from merino wool. It's by Madewell. It has an estimated retail price of $191 and a ThredUp price of $51.99. Always love some nice fitting basics. This 3/4 length sleeve top by Madewell has an estimated retail price of $64 and a ThredUp price of $19.99. This Calvin Klein turtleneck sweater has an estimated retail price of $102 and a ThredUp price of $23.99. I love the fit, it's cozy, and then also really cute with a skirt for some of those holiday events, and some boots that I found on ThredUp. These boots have an estimated retail price of $127 and a ThredUp price of $59.99. They're 100% leather. When shopping on ThredUp, I like to choose things that have really high quality materials that maybe I wouldn't ordinarily buy because I don't go shopping very often, and then also super pricey to buy those higher quality materials. So on that same note, I picked up this little bag. I really love the color. I love that it was 100% leather. And I find myself plenty of times right now not really needing to bring a ton in my larger diaper bag. Theodore is potty trained, and then for Victor, I usually just need a couple diapers and wipes in my wallet for most things. So I thought it'd be nice to have a smaller bag, and I love the quality on this one. ThredUp is offering Farmhouse On Boon viewers 45% off your first order with my code FARMHOUSE. I will leave that link down in the description box below. Again, thank you so much, ThredUp, for sponsoring today's video. There's an idea from one of the minimal YouTubers. I can't remember exactly which one said it. I believe it was Dawn from the Minimal Mom, but what she says is imagine that you had a free Saturday. I'm sure that would be something a lot of us don't really end up having very often, but say that you did, and you had no housework to do, no sports events to go to, no parties. There was literally nothing you needed to do at all. Would you choose on that day, that clear, that day that's really not going to happen, but let's just say that it could, to go and actually do that someday thing that you have stashed away in your closet that you may end up using? And if the answer is no, then you can really be sure that you are telling yourself a lie when you think you will get to it. I think there's also a level of guilt when we get rid of something that we really thought we'd be able to use for XYZ or fix, or say you picked up something from a thrift shop or an antique shop and you put it in the closet because it needed a little tweak. Maybe you had to rewire something. Not that I would know anything about that to-do list thing. Paint it, sew something to make it beautiful. And you just know that it would be awesome. It would look so great and so pretty. But a year goes by and you're still kind of fumbling over that thing when you go to get diapers out of the closet, say. That the guilt that weighs on you every single time you go to get diapers out of the closet is something that if you add up the value of that item, it is no longer worth a year of your time and your guilt, moving it around, shuffling it around, seeing it and thinking, ooh, I should work on that today, but yet you're never going to. At some point, we have to be honest and part with things in order to make our houses and our lives simpler and more manageable. I get asked about this all the time on my podcast, the Simple Farmhouse Life podcast. This whole year, I have been doing a solo episode every third episode where I answer questions through a question box that I have people submit their questions. And one of the most common questions I get is, how do you deal with overwhelm? And usually it'll be something along the lines of, I'm a mom of 2 little kids. I'm not sure what we're going to need in the future, and so I tend to hold on to everything. But the problem is I don't feel like I can keep up with my house. I feel like I'm constantly cleaning it, constantly tidying it, and no matter what I do, I can't keep up with it enough to do, anything else. It's a constant thing. And sometimes the question will take the form of really not realizing that the clutter is the problem and just saying, I have too much laundry, too many dishes, just the basic house stuff is overwhelming to me and I can't keep up with it. And I really believe after the work that I've done on my own home and realizing how much more I really had weighing on me, that it is an inventory problem. There are too many things to manage, and we trade sanity and opportunity because there's so many things we could do with our lives and with our homes. If we felt like we could manage them properly, we would invite more people into them. We would have more free space in our brains to maybe make plans or do something we've always dreamt of doing. So it's an irrational fear of what this item adds to my life and makes it better that is actually making it harder and one unable to pursue the priorities that we know deep down that we have. So when I decided to go even deeper, I came up with more than 10 trash bags of stuff to donate that I don't even miss at all. And honestly, if I look around my house and behind every cabinet, I think there's a little bit more to go, but it is truly amazing what a highly simplified, as Dawn, I always listen to Dawn from the Minimal Mom because she's so motivating on helping you understand what this is actually doing to you in your life. But a highly simplified house, how easy it is to bring back together. With the amount of inventory that we are currently keeping, it can't get out of control. And with a family of 10, that is so important because there are so many hands in the bins where we keep shoes and boots and socks and toys and clothes. I have to look at each thing that is in this home like my life and sanity depends on it, because it has been the single biggest factor that has allowed me to stay on top of my home. Tackling your inventory issues and thinking through what do we really need, and finding that balance between having plenty so you're not scrambling because the only pair of jeans you own is in the dryer, but then also not having so much that there's a mountain of laundry every single day. For me, I end up landing more on the side of less is more. This also shifts buying patterns. So that just the other day, a few of my kids and I were at Target. We don't find ourselves there very often, but we were having a good time and we were looking at the home decor and the kids' clothes. And we actually did need a few pieces because I was kind of having that situation where I felt like I was waiting at the dryer for my kids' one pair of jeans that looked right. So I was getting some kids' clothes, and there was this cute little bathrobe, and my daughter was like, "Oh, we should get this for our 3-year-old." And it was so cute, but because of how much I've simplified our home, there isn't mess and clutter everywhere. And I know practically we don't actually need a bathrobe. I have a place for the towels that everyone uses. I have a place for the clothes and the jammies, and it's a nice little basket that everything can fit in for that particular child. And that item would have required some kind of special consideration that I'm too close to simplifying and getting rid of all the extra items that we don't need to ever consider purchasing something like that. And talk to me in a few years, maybe I will have gotten back into some kind of pattern where I would. But since doing a big declutter and realizing just how easy my house is to manage right now is too fresh in my mind. So I just love the way that although it feels like a waste when you simplify, it really shifts your buying patterns going forward and keeps you from that cycle of, what's one more thing? We have already, a closet full of stuff. What's one more item? Simplifying really shifts those buying patterns. So ultimately, I do think people who live a more minimalist lifestyle end up spending less money because they just consider more carefully each item that comes in. I personally think that the definition of stress when it comes to homemaking is having more things that you need to get done than is even possible. If we're starting from an impossible starting point with our homes, everything else will fall behind. And I'm trying to continue to learn this and go even deeper in my own home so that we can enjoy the things that we prioritize. Don't forget to get 45% off your first ThredUp order with my code FARMHOUSE using the link in the description box below.